I'm Alison from the Postgraduate Association. We're here with the last of this series with Dr. Katie Hotko, and today she's going to take us through using the Morph feature in PowerPoint. So thanks everyone for coming along, and just a quick reminder too that we are recording, and I'll post the link to our YouTube channel, and I encourage all of you to become a member of the Postgraduate Association. And it helps kind of keep all these workshops going for free for students. So thanks, everybody. It's all yours, Katie.
Thanks, Alison. I really appreciate it. Before I go and share my screen, I just want to acknowledge the country that I am zooming into from. And I know we're all coming from different parts of Australia, and I want to pay my respect to the Kumameri people of the Yugambeh language group, which is where I am on the very warm Gold Coast this evening, and just acknowledge that the land always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Tonight, as Alison said, I am talking to you about the Morph transition in PowerPoint and other fun things. So what I might do is before we get started and before I share my screen, I have tried to design this workshop to be practical as best it can be. Introducing who I am, my name's Dr. Katie Hotko. I was a member of the Southern Cross Postgraduate Association for many years while I did my honours and PhD at Southern Cross. I really am a big supporter of the association, and I am currently a lecturer in the Faculty of Education at Southern Cross University, and my love is all things creative arts, which is what my focus is. So I always like, as a creative artist myself and a firm believer of experiential learning, I always think a workshop is really wonderful when you can hear about some new skills and learn about some new ideas, but then put them into action straight away. So hopefully tonight I won't be talking the whole time. I'm going to show you a few things first, and then I hope that you'll be able to go off, will not actually go anywhere, but perhaps like minimize this screen, open up your PowerPoint and have a go at putting some things into action, and then come back and we'll talk about it and then put some more things into action. So hopefully everyone is zooming in from a location in which they can do that. And while I'm getting my slide share up, perhaps you might want to open up your PowerPoint program that you have perhaps on the desktop of your laptop, and just let me know in the chat, if you can, how it is. Just I'm all set, ready to go, or perhaps let me know if you're on your phone or you're on the bus or you're somewhere where you can't actually participate actively. Let me know that in the chat too, and I'll try and deal with all sorts of things here. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Let me know what it is how you will be able to engage in this workshop in the chat. Okay, one moment. One sec. That didn't work there. Now I think it is.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
had some challenges with screen sharing in these meetings, and I'm not sure why, but I think we're all working here.
Yep.
So what I am wanting to share with you is just some fun things that PowerPoint can do. Last week we talked about how we can record in PowerPoint, and then we did another workshop where we looked at Canva, where you could do different ways of designing your presentations in Canva. Tonight, I just want to show a few things that you may not know of how you can work in Canva. No, not Canva tonight, sorry. In PowerPoint. So before I move on to showing you the different things that we're going to explore tonight, let me know in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and talk to me. How are you all ready? If your PowerPoint's opened up, ready to go. So give me a yes or a thumbs up or something like that, or a thumbs down if you're not ready and you need some more time to get that sorted. Good to go, Alison. Renee is good to go. Excellent. All right, so we're all ready to get in and do some activities together. So this first 5 or 10 minutes or so might just be me talking, but then we will hand over and I'll give you some time. So what it is that I am wanting to share with you today is a bunch of different tiny skills that you can design some different ways of presenting your work. So the skills that we're going to be learning in this workshop in particular, you might already know some of them. I've tried to sort of separate them out and just show you what they look like at the beginning, so it's not so overwhelming as we get into the building part. So the first skill that we are going to be doing is we're going to be inserting some shapes. Hopefully everyone, give me a thumbs up if you've done that before in PowerPoint, if you've inserted a shape. With this, everyone's all right. Excellent. That's great. So you've already got some of the building blocks of what it is that you need to be able to do in PowerPoint. What about some icons? I've got a little thing here so that it shows you how to do it. So you've got to make sure you go up to the Insert tab and Icons, and then this little box should open up for you. Everyone's inserted some icons before? Thumbs up. Yep. Awesome. Excellent. You're all going to be amazing at this. The next thing is I will be teaching you how to use the morph technique. Has anyone had a go at doing it before? Alison has. Oh, she's accidentally thumbs up then. That's okay. Thumbs down. This is what you're here for. And in a little meta way, I'm trying to demonstrate the morph technique here by actually it's these little transitions between each of my slides is what it is. So I will show you how to do it, how to apply it, and we're going to create a series of little slides that will enact this morph transition. Hopefully some people have done this one, which is we're going to insert some pictures, whether that be pictures of our own, some stock images, or some pictures from online. Everyone's inserted some pictures into PowerPoint before, hopefully? If not, I will definitely show you how, but sweet. These next two you may not have had experience doing before, which we're going to actually have a little play of the combine or subtract function here, which is in the shape format section. Has anyone had a play with this functionality here, which is this button here? That's okay if you haven't. It's a little new tip that I'll show you how this function here is how I created that initial slide that I had where it said morph transitions and it had some jellyfish floating behind it. I created that kind of hollowed out shape by combining some text and a background shape, and we'll have a go at doing that tonight as well. And then the last little skill that we might learn to do is if we're working with a lot of objects that we've created from little bits, inserted some icons, some text, some shapes, and it makes it easier for us to navigate by grouping them together. Has anyone had a go at grouping items in PowerPoint before? Which is just this button here. We hit group. No, less thumbs up for that one. So it looks like there's a little bit of knowledge that you all have, which is great, but there's new things that we can put into action tonight, which should be lots of fun. Why should we be using the morph transition? It's a bit of an extra that's not necessary. You can just have straight slides with information and just move from information to information on a slide. That's totally fine. I find that the morph function is particularly helpful when you have a series of steps. So for example, before everyone arrived, Renee and I were talking about her completing her honours project. In an honours thesis or a project, you might have a presentation that you need to do. And when you're presenting your research, there might be a series of steps that you need to show. You might need to talk about your your researcher background. Then you might need to talk a little bit about the literature that you've explored. You might need to then talk about some methods that you employed in your research. You might want to talk about the data that you found, and then some discussion or findings. So you might have 5 or 6 points in your presentation and you want to walk people through it really clearly. The Morph function can really help to organize that information. It can help you focus your audience on one particular topic in a visual way that helps provide focus and really highlight key ideas. So what I'm going to do now is show you, they're all within my context because I was creating them. So you're going to learn a little bit about the visual arts and the creative arts tonight. Don't worry too much about what the context is. You can put it into your own area of study. You might be studying psychology or health sciences or engineering. You could perhaps use your imaginations, that the information can be about anything. We're just looking at the design. So this first one here is I've already modeled it with the titles of the different skills that you're going to learn. This one here is just taking you through some information about the creative arts. But what I want you to pay attention to is when I change the slides, I've just got a very simple animation where these guys here are in a light blue. And then as I change, the circle moves down, turns to white. And it creates quite a seamless little change. It's quite simple. I've started off really simple. We're going to create one of these ourselves. We might just do 3 or 4 if you're adventurous things, and down to the final piece of information. So I've tried to sort of model for you something that we can do to create. I'm going to show you maybe one more, and then we might go out and have a go. I'm going to show you how I created it step by step, and then send you off to do some creations of your own. Let me see what comes up here. Oh, this is an example of something else. So I'm showing you, we're going to do a list one, which is what I just showed you. And then we might show you a way in which you can transition to sort of a really punchy title page, which is this one here. I'm going to show you how to create something like this. It's really quite sleek in the way that it's been designed. I'll show you how to do that one. And then let me move on and see what else I've got here for you. And so before I was telling you that you can use the Morph function to show a progression of ideas, or to do like a little snazzy title page type thing, which is this, which is that previous one. Whereas this one here is transitioning from a title page. So I've got creative arts is the title, and then focusing in on a specific set of information. So there's that one as well, which I will teach you how to do. Finally, oh, this is just showing when I created this, and I'm going to show you the background of it in just a moment. Well, hold on. When I created this one, I didn't really like the background photo that I had. And so I tried it I just duplicated it really quickly and put a different background in there. And you can see that it's zooming into the font to create this quite simple little section here. What I'm going to do now is go away from this, and hopefully you can still see it. I think it's come up with the actual program itself. Is that right, Alison? You can see down the left? Okay, beautiful. So what I want to do now is show you this situation here, step by step, how this type of thing is created. Okay, so you can see on this panel down the side here that what I have done is I've created a series of slides, copied and pasted them, and just adjusted certain things. So what I'm going to do is jump in here, just in between here, and I'm going to add a slide. So what I've done is I just click in the middle of the 2 slides, I right click, and then I'm going to just grab a new slide there. The other way that you can do that is you can jump into the section that you want, and up the top here, under the home button is the new slide, and you can actually select the type of slide that you would like. I am a big fan of working from a blank slide. I don't like the little template things that there are, so I'm just going to insert, oops, a blank slide here for us to be working on. Okay, I'm going to do this a little bit quickly, and then we will jump off and do that ourselves. So what I'm going to ask you to do to put this into action is the first thing we're going to do is insert a shape, which everyone said before that they knew how to do that. So I'm just going to insert a shape like this. It can be however wide you would like it to be. And what I like to do is I always like to remove the outline. The black outline doesn't look as neat. So I like to go up here to the shape outline and just check no outline. I didn't do it on purpose, but I will show you what I mean by that here. I forgot to do that when I created these ones, and it's the tiniest of things. But the graphic design in me, I don't like that outline. I think it looks a little bit clumsy. You can see where I haven't quite lined it up correctly. I wish that I'd gone through and removed that outline, and that's why I do that. For those of you who don't care that much, you don't have to worry about it, but I always like to remove the outline. So here I am. You can choose a color of your own choice as you like. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to insert, I'm going to do 3 so that it's a bit easier. We're going to insert up here some icons. Now, I keep asking this, does someone want to give me an idea about what theme I should be working for? Does anyone have, you could pop it in the chat, a particular topic that you might be exploring, and I'll see if I can choose some icons that that meet someone else's topic. Or unmute yourself and tell me your topic that you're exploring in your studies. Horses. Let's do it. All right, I'm typing in horses. So that's the one I'm going to go through. So the first one, we might choose that one. We might do that one. And then, you know, maybe some fantasy horses. So is that like a Pegasus? You could do whatever icons you want. There's lots of different sorts. So I've just inserted 3 there. You might have to do it a few times to get the ones that you want. What I'm going to do, and this, just a little hint to make things faster, is you can hold down the Shift button and select all 3 at once. Or the other thing you can do is just move, I've clicked and I'm dragging over all of them and it selects all of them at once. So that's just a little tip about how you can select a bunch of items that you want. What we want to do is change the color of these. So whenever you have a selected item in PowerPoint, there should be a little bar up here, the ribbon that you should be able to click on to get all the things that you need to do to adjust that shape. So up here on graphics format, what we want to do is change the, I will do it. I probably should have moved them over to the blue first so they didn't disappear. I'm going to change, or maybe I'll change them to light blue. Okay. And I'm going to move them all together to get them in the space that I want. I actually think I might make them bigger so that they fit really nicely and quite impactfully on here. So I'm just changing the size of them all together there so I didn't have to do it to each one. And I'm going to pop them here. So that's the first step. What I might do is, so that we don't get too far ahead and that you can put this into action now, what I'm going to ask you to do, remember there's step 1, which is insert your shape, which is the rectangle down the side, remove the background. I might even actually, I'm going to type this out for you. Step 1, insert rectangle. Step 2 is remove border. Is that what it's called? I think so. And then insert 3 icons. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to give you maybe 2 or 3 minutes to go and put that into action and do that. I haven't got a timer right now. I will grab one soon, but head off to your PowerPoint, do these steps and get something that looks like this in your own theme, and then let me know when you're done. I really would love it if you would give me in the chat if you'd say all ready to go or thumbs up when you're ready. So I'm going to mute myself and find a little timer for you, but we'll be back at 5:23 with these steps done. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to either ask me in the chat or just unmute and ask questions if you need to for this step.
Introducing new Vicks Extra Soothing Vapor Drops with real honey liquid center.
Next time I'll have a timer ready. I've got it in there for us. We've got about 20 seconds left. Hopefully you're doing well. Okay, how is everyone? Let me know. Have you all got ready to go to the next step?
I just found once I place my icons in, they're hard to grab again. Sometimes they get sent to the back or something. I don't know.
So, well, all right, let me have a look here. So you've got to click on them. So maybe your icons might be quite small and that might be why. But if that is a problem, what you can do is make sure you try and select. So maybe in the top left corner, select your rectangle and just make sure it is sent to the back, which is to right click on it there. And then you can make sure that this is sent to the back so that it definitely is sitting.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Back there. And I've saw some thumbs up, so hopefully we're all good to keep going. So the next thing that we need to do here is we're going to insert what we can do actually, we're going to leave this one as is, and we're going to insert a copy, so duplicate the slide. So over on the left where you've got that panel of all your different slides, right click on that one and duplicate slide. We're going to do this quite a lot. And I actually have oh no, it should be okay. Okay, so on the second slide down, what we're going to do is insert a shape, which is that circle shape that is going to highlight our different icons as we go. So choose a circle, and then what we want to do is create a circle that is going to cover our whole shape. What we're going to do here is change the color of the circle and remove that border of the circle. So as long as shape format is selected and your circle is selected, you can go up here and get rid of the outline and then change the color. You can do whatever you want here. Sometimes I like working within the same color family to keep it really, so I could keep it and do like a dark blue and keep everything in the blues, or I could choose an accent color and be really quite bold. I might stick with the blues. So I'm going to choose a dark blue here. Now, obviously this is not going to work because it's covering it up. We want to send it away. So we're going to right click on it here and send it backwards. If we send it to the back, it completely disappears. It goes behind that blue border. That's not what we want. So I'm just going to bring that back and make sure that we tuck out here and we're just sending it backwards one step, which didn't happen. Hold on. Send it backwards. Why is this not happening? Have these locked in? No, they're there. This is an example of, I'm sending this one back. I'm not sure why that happened. It's never happened to me before, but if that happens to you, send your circle back and then you can bring your rectangle forward one, which is what I just did quite quickly there. So what we've got is this fellow's here, and then what really stands out is if we change the color of this horse when the circle is behind it. So again, I'm going up to the graphic format. I'm going to change the fill of that one. I'm going to change it to white. It's not a huge change, but I think it does make a difference. So we're going to then repeat that step by coming over here and duplicating this slide and making sure I'm working down here on the next one. I'm going to just grab this circle and move it down to cover this one. I need to make sure I change this back to the color it was before. There's a very subtle change there. I'm not sure if I love it, but that's okay. And then that one's all done. And then the last one. So you should have four slides all up. I'm duplicating the slide. On this bottom one, I'm going to drag that circle down, change this fellow back to the light blue that I had, and change this one to the white. And once I've done that, I need to highlight all of these. And once I've highlighted all the slides, so the way I did that, if you don't know, is, hold on, I'll unhighlight them. I've clicked on one, I hold down Shift, and then you can click on all the ones that you want to highlight together while you're holding down Shift. Once you've highlighted all of those little fellows, you're going to go up the top here to transitions. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Please tell me to slow down if I am. And you're going to select the morph transition. So I'm just selecting that one there. And how we have a look at that is that's all selected, and I'm going to just pop this in. Hopefully everyone can see that. I think that has shared properly. And then as we click through, oh, whoops. I forgot about my little timer that was here. Let's just ignore him. We move to 1. Oh, hold on a minute. Don't do it with a video there. It ruins everything. Hold on. I'm just getting rid of this. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so here we are talking about something and the circle is there. I think that perhaps it needs to start on this page and then it just transitions quite simply down in between those 3 points. So as I've seen that design, I don't like this first one. I'm just going to delete it. And I've got these 3 now with the circle in different places and the morph style implemented. So what I'm going to do is give you another few minutes. Let's go. You need to insert a circle, remove the outline. You need to reorder and then copy your slide ×3 and move circle. Then apply the morph transition. Hopefully that's not too much for you to go and do. If you need some support with that or you need me to show something again, please let me know in the question section, in the chat section. Otherwise, let's go and have maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Hopefully that's enough for you. We'll come back here at about 5:37, 38. I'll pop that in the chat. I can't figure out a timer. I love Canva for a timer. I am getting the sense that some of you are finished. So just give you another few seconds. Come back to, if you've been away, on another tab to bring back your meeting. Hopefully you haven't lost us. What I'd like to do now, we've just done a little bit of some basic skills here. If there is someone willing, I would love a little time of show and tell. If someone here would like to, perhaps I can show you how to share your screen to show what it is that you've just done. Do I have any brave volunteers who would like to share their screen? It's really easy. Otherwise, I might call on Alison. Give someone else. Is thumbs up for me calling on Alison, or is it Renee, do you want to share your screen? Happy to share. Excellent, Renee. I'd love that. So do you need me to step you through how to share your screen, or are you all on top of that? All good. Okay, so you might want to put it into presentation mode or something first and then share, or you can do that after. Go for it. I don't know if we need to give you permission.
I'll just check.
It should happen. You should be. What will happen is, Renee, can you see the green button down the bottom that says share?
I just saw a request from her, and so you should be right now, Renee. Yeah, I approved that one.
Here we go. Ah, beautiful. Just click next. Lovely.
Yay.
Excellent work, Renee.
It's great.
The one thing that I didn't share, which I'm going to share right now, is obviously we're not just doing, hold on, let me get back. Hopefully everyone can see this. We're not just moving the icon down. On each of those pages, you can populate that with some information. So on this first one here, obviously we could move that away for now, but you could have some information about horses. And then on this one, it could be about, I don't know anything about horses, isn't that terrible? I'm like, about how to put their shoes on, I don't know. And then you could have horses throughout history or in fantasy books or whatever. And you put the different information on each section, and that will appear as you go along. It's okay, Renee. The borders, I mean, it's just an aesthetic choice. I like it without the border. Other people may not care. It doesn't matter. All right, so everyone's been able to, hopefully everyone's been able to achieve that quite a simple transition here. Another way in which that can be done, I'm going to leave all these sort of fancy headings to the end. I want to show you a few others that I have, which, hold on, let me go down. I've got a bunch of examples here. This one here, I think, is of a similar vein in that the one I just shared you was a list of icons with circles that moved. This one here, very similar topic. It's just easy for me. It's a set of 4 things. What I have here is, it's like tabs. What I might do is just show it to you really quickly. So this tab here, you can see that it's highlighted, like the bright blue is there, and you can see the visual arts really clearly, but you can see where I'm going, because you can see that, you know, soon I'm going to talk about music, drama, and dance. And as I click through this, it just very simply moves to the next page. I'm sharing a video on this one. And as I click next, the video will start to play.
Next song is a very...
This one here. As I click next, the video will start to play. So if I was...
It's amazing.
So I'll just move to the next one. and then there's dance. So it's another similar concept of which you can create with all the same skills that that we just did then. So I might show you really briefly how this might be created, which is as simple as, I might break it down. Let me get in here rather than creating it all new. What I've done is I've inserted a really large rectangle here. So you can see that one there. I've got a black background. I wrote the words along the top here, and I made sure they were all that light grey colour, and it becomes vibrant when the little tab is over the top of it. So I've got one colourful rectangle here and a smaller, hold on, rectangle here. And it looks like one of those filing tabs because it's got the rounded on the edge. And one thing I might show you, which I only learnt about a year or two ago, whenever you've got a shape with that beveled edge, you'll have this little yellow dot that comes up, which just gives you a little bit more freedom to change the shape. So you can just use, I don't know if it is relevant or not, you can change the shape like that just to change that intensity of that angle. It gives you a little bit more control over what it is. I quite like it quite strong because then it looks, in my mind, it looks like a tab, like a filing cabinet or something like that. So black background, words in light grey, one small rectangle and big rectangle. And then all I did was I like to use my keyboard shortcuts, and you can't see me doing that. So I hit Control C over here, or I can right click and copy and then either Control V or right click and paste. So I've copied that one there. What happens when I copy is for some reason the background doesn't copy as well. So clicking on the background, what you can do to change the actual background. If I didn't want to have to do this, I could put a whole black rectangle in the back. But the other thing I can do is change the format of the background. So I've right clicked and I'm going to format background, and it should open up a column here. Solid fill, and I can just change the fill of that background, and that pops that back in there. And then if I was going to change it again to create the next one, all I need to do is change the color. So I can click on it, make sure I click on shape format, shape fill, and I can change the color. One cool thing that I haven't shown you that you may know or may not is I quite like the eyedropper, which is where you can really get a color of your choice rather than using the ones that are here for you. You can use that eyedropper and you could decide that you might want to go for, let me find the one I want. You might, oh, that's a bit oppressive. Oh, anyway, that hurts my eyes a little bit, but you can choose a color from a photo that you have if you want things to be a little bit more thematic. So you can use the eyedropper for that. So we want to change that one and we move. Oh, there's that problem that happened to you before, Alison, wasn't it? You were moving the wrong thing. You can always use the Control Z button, which is the undo. I use that often. Make sure that you select the right thing, move it along, and then we need to change this shape fill as well, which is, you can use that recent button there. And then what I would do perhaps is just delete the stuff that's on here and add the music content there. And it's as simple as that, you create a shape, duplicate the slide and change a few colors. And then once you add the morph transition, which you can see isn't added here because it doesn't have that little star. It might be difficult to see on the screen share, but you want to highlight it, both of them, head up here to the transitions, add that morph transition, and you can see that it just added the animation onto the left there. And then when I share it, we've got that one. and then it just changes. And you can see that it actually changes so much that it was blue and it's changing to yellow. And when it does so, it mixes blue and yellow together and you get that green. So the change is quite smooth, which I quite like. I don't know. Small things delight me. So that is just an example. I'm not going to send you off to create one of these, but it's an example of how you can use the similar skills, changing a few things on the slides, adding that morph technique, and then you get that really smooth transition. Does anyone have any questions about that? What I'm going to do is show you one more way in which we can do this type of thing. These ones that I've shown you have new information that comes up every time you change. And this one here, hold on, I'll go right up. This one here at the front, it was another example of where there's new things on each, the heading comes out and there's new information on each page. Same with this one here. What I might do, and I don't have an example to going to grab this in the interest of being quick. I'm grabbing some information from here and I will plonk it in here. Let's get a new slide. Just start afresh here and I'll paste it in. Oh, I'm trying to save time and I've done a bad job of it. Never mind, I will start from scratch. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is a way that we can have all of the information on the page at once, and we use something to highlight it as it transitions across, and it sort of goes from that faded out grey into something that we're paying attention to. So it's about putting a spotlight on something, I guess you could say. So what we will do, again, what I'm going to do, I just want these things. Okay. What I'm going to do is change the background to black, I think. So the way I do that is over here on Format Background. If that's not up for you, what you need to do is you hit the right click and you open up Format Background, which is open over here. And I'm just going to change the background to black so that when I paste these things, you can actually see them. And the reason I've done that is to just save a little bit of time for us here so that we can see them. Although, let's just do 2 so that it's easier. Okay. Sorry. All right. So what we're going to do is put a little bit of text on each of these. So insert text. Let's pretend that's text. And then you might want to insert a picture. So I'm just going to insert stock image and I'm just going to pick the first one. It's not going to make a lot of sense here. Hold on. Oh, the first one's boring. Hold on. This one's pretty. So it could be anything. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so what it is that we have is we have 2 squares, which the designer in me thinks that there needs to be 3 because 2 seems to be an unbalanced number, and we move them over here. So these squares are actually transparent squares. You can see that by when I click on them, and you can see the shape format over here has a transparency of 30. What I'm going to do for these ones is actually change that transparency up to a more opaque so that it's less transparent. So I'm going to change that one to, let's see, I might go even 80, and the same here for 80. And going to copy and paste. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I might move this one over here, copy, and move this over here. And this is not getting a great effect because you're seeing the red. You shouldn't be able to see the red there. Hold on, I'll get a bit of text from here. The red is the, how do I say, the bad spelling that I did by just typing in any old word. So I'll be a little bit more specific. Okay, so a little bit fiddly here. But what we can do is you could pretend that I have 3 bits of information that I want to talk about. So I could have the first bit of information here with that image on it. And then as I'm going through, I want to move on to my second point. And as similar process before, we want to copy this one here on the left and paste it in underneath. Again, we're getting that same problem that we had before, which is annoying, but we just want to make sure we've selected the background, change it to black, and everything should come back up. And the only thing that we need to do here is we need to change the opacity of this one to 70. Or was it 80? It was 80. Or maybe it was 70. No, it was 80. You can play with what you like and then change this one to 30. And let's insert a picture. And let's keep it similar themed. And we will put these flowers in. Size those, pop them in there. And then hopefully everyone can guess what I do next, which is that we are going to then duplicate this slide. So I copy and paste. The other option is you can just duplicate the slide, which carries over that. And then we want to then change the background again. There's a lot of repetition here, but it should be quite lovely once it's done. Change that to 30, insert one last picture. Not from my device. Insert an online picture. Flowers. This is a slightly different way of getting pictures. My internet's very slow tonight. Let's grab that one. And away we go. The final thing we need to do is highlight these fellows and apply that transition, which is here. And hopefully this works for us. I'll give it a second. Can everyone see that slide there? I think you can. And it's as simple as moving along like this. And you can see how that changes. It's just another way of presenting your information. So what I'm going to give you is we're at the hour point now. What I would like to do is give you a really solid 10 minutes to go and create something using the skills that we've just talked about. I'm going to put a proper timer up for 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, run and shake your legs, have a little stretch, grab a drink of water, and then we will meet back at 6:10 to do some of these fancy headings and a few other ways in which we can use this morph technique. So please go and put it into action. Sometimes, you hear someone talk about something, it's when you do it that it can make a real difference. So I'm going to put a 10-minute timer on, and away you will go to put some of this stuff in action. I will be hanging around and I can answer any questions in the chat if you need them answered. Alison, we might also pause the recording, maybe? Happy for us to just keep moving, or Alison, did you want to share anything of yours, or are you happy to just keep moving along?
I'm happy to keep going. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so we've talked about ones that are just moving along in a progression or highlighting certain things. This next one that I want to show you is similar but uses a different technique. So I'm just going to share my slides again and head on up here. And what I might do is, hopefully this will work. I'll show you hold on a moment. Slideshow. This is what goes wrong when you have too many monitors. I've got 3 monitors and it's popping up all over the place. Let me just change. I think this will work. To be here and from current slide. Okay. All right. So if I was talking to you about this, I'd be talking about early childhood and the different ways in which you can work with children in the arts in early childhood. So I would be talking about sensory play. I would be talking about there's sometimes directed and scaffolded play. So to talk to you about, show you about what I'm doing here is I'm actually taking you through a very large image and using that as my background as we move through some different ideas. So it's a really simple, again, way of moving through different ideas. I've kind of added the symbolism of it in that I'm talking about children's play. And in the background, you can see that there is a child who is playing and building blocks in the background of that one singular image. So let me show you how I created that here. So I actually created, hold on, if we go up to number 1, so you can see this is this first slide here. What I've actually got is a very large image that I have created elsewhere. To be honest, I created this in Canva. I think I did. Actually, it's been a while. I don't remember actually if I created it in Canva. That's where I would choose to create it. It's my favorite way to create things. You could create something like that in PowerPoint. You certainly can create different shaped images. I don't know if anyone knows. Oh no, I did create it here. Look at that. These days I'd create it in Canva because it just would be easier. But what I have done is got a very large image. Oh, now I've ruined it. Hold on. I think that's right. I've got a very large image that I've created, and then over the top of it, I've got some of those translucent boxes again, and created these little cutouts, which I find quite effective for the numbers, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. And I have it extending out over the actual slide. And then as I moved, hold on, let me just get it back. I'm a bit worried that I've ruined it. Maybe I go Control Z until I get it back to where it was. There we go. And I've aligned it here down the bottom, and I did it a bit backwards because I wanted it to be that I'm building the blocks. It's a tiny thing. I don't even know if people watching it would quite get the picture that I was going from, but that's where I was thinking, was that I was building the blocks as I was moving through. So what I did was I got this long picture with all these bits and bobs on top of it, and then I duplicated it. And I very simply, you can see if I move it across here, I just moved it down. I moved all the images down so that the number 2 was there. And then I did the same thing on number 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to show you an example of how that can be done right now without, let me add a slide in here. New slide. What I have is an infographic that has been developed in Canva that I'm going to insert and show you that beautiful scrolling motion that you can get. So I'm going to insert picture, this time from my device because I've created it else. Well, Canva created it elsewhere. And I am going to insert it in. So I've got this one here. And I'll just shut that down. We're not working with that today. And at the moment, it is quite small on the page there. For those who don't know, you can just scroll. Oops, daisies. You can do it down here in the corner. This is the zoom. You can zoom so that it's, I keep being on the wrong page, excuse me. You can zoom so that your page is quite small, or you can zoom in here. I also do it with control and then I use my mouse. But what we want to do is just make this picture really big so that it fills. I find that it's one of the things I find quite frustrating is if you accidentally scroll too far, you end up flipping to the next page. But here we go. All right, so what we want to do, this one works more logically top to bottom rather than bottom to top. But I've moved it down so that it just covers the top here. I'm going to duplicate that slide here, and then I'm just simply going to move it up. And what I want is to keep some continuity here. So I'm keeping that line there, and then I'm going to duplicate that slide again. I'm doing the duplication over and over again so that it's just easier for me to line up what I haven't done yet. So you can see I'm keeping, I hope it's not too small for you, but I'm keeping a little bit of that continuity. So I'm keeping that little caterpillar there and duplicate again. And I'll move that caterpillar up off the page now, but I am keeping part of that leaf this time. And then duplicating my slide. I'm nearly there. I think this one might be the last one that I do. Oh, it might be too much. Nope. I'm not going to be able to get all of it, and that's okay. I'm just trying to, you can see how I'm moving it so that I can just see exactly what I want on the page. I want that writing to be nice and centered. Okay, so I have a very long image and I've duplicated, and then moved my image to where I want it to be. Again, I'm going to highlight all of these ones down the side that I want to apply that transition to. So I've highlighted them all. I'm going to transitions. I'm going to morph, and I'm applying that. And now I'm going to just test it out to see if it worked. So we'll go here and let's see, we'll put that in. Yep. So this is just, it's quite simple, the scroll effect, but I actually find it quite dynamic that you work your way down through all of the different stages and then that's over there. So that one's really quite a simple way of using the morph technique where you go beyond the screen itself. So you have images that you have outside of the screen. Other ways in which this can be done is if you, so that was with one long image. You can also do this with, let me just get a new slide here. Okay, let me just also make that a bit bigger. But I've still got this outside area here. So one thing I could do is I could have a whole series of images that I want to scroll through, and maybe I want to give it kind of that sense that it's a piece of film or something like that. So what I might do is insert a shape. What I'm going to do is maybe like this. Let's go a shape like that, and then I might make it black. I think that might be punchy. I'm going to get rid of the outline, and then I'm going to copy that shape and paste it again so that it's like this. So you can see on the left-hand side, you can actually see what the image is going to actually look like. At the moment, I'm very zoomed out, so I see these two gigantic circles. What I actually have is this lovely curved shape here. In this section here, I might want to put some text later, but let me just show you. Trying to think of what we could be talking about. Let's keep in the horses theme, shall we? Since we've had horses as a suggestion earlier, let's go. Let's put that one in. Okay. So we'll make that nice and centered here. And what I want to do is send that to the back. So I'm going to right click and then send that back. I think that's interesting. Next thing, I'm going to insert another picture. So what we're going to do is create a bit of a carousel as such. So I am going to just insert another picture. Sorry about my internet. Let's grab another version of horses. I'll only do 3, but probably want these pictures to be a fairly similar size, I think. Let's put that there. Also send it to the back. Actually, just so that we can really see the effect of this, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to insert a third picture here. So we're getting it all set up. Insert picture. Let's get one more. You could do this with 4 or 5. Isn't that funny? Oh, okay. Well, they're dumb pictures. Maybe if I go horses. Here we go. Let's go this one here. I'm going to resize it so that it's a similar size to the others. Sending it back. And then I'm just moving it up. Actually, it doesn't really matter how far up I put it. But anyway, let's move it up there, just so it's a bit out of the way. You won't be able to see that. All right. So what I'm going to do now is we'll do it over and over. I'm going to duplicate this slide and then come down. And what I'm going to do, stick on the same slide, is I'm just simply going to move this down, probably to about here so that we can still see it. Move this one down. And then if I was working with more images, what I would do is group these together so that I could move them down really easily. For now, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do it anyway just to show you how it works. So I'm highlighting this fellow. I'm holding my shift down to select this one, and I will select this one as well. And I've selected all 3, and I need to go up here to the picture format. Or I could right click, but I'll show you 2 ways to do it. So I go picture format, and over here on the side is the group button here. And so I'm grouping those together. And what that means is when I create my next slide, I'll be able to easily move them down. Okay, so the other way that I could have done that is right clicked and the group comes up and I can group them. I can always ungroup them later if I want to. So I've grouped those ones together. And then I'm going to go over here and then right click, duplicate my slide. And then I'm just simply moving this fellow down. So you can see that they're all grouped together. Okay, the effect would be greater if I had more images, but I don't want to take too much of your time here. And then what I could also do for this section is I could insert some text. Let's say, not feeling terribly creative tonight, am I? Horses. Let's change that font so that it's much bigger. Let's do that one. Let's make it 50 at least. And so you can see on the left-hand side that that doesn't feel big enough. Let's go even bigger. There we go. And then on this one, you might have, just copy that, move to the next one. See that that's pasted down the wrong color, so I just need to change that color again. 2 horses. I don't know. Whatever. You get the impact there. So you put all your text in, the information that you would like, highlight these fellows here, and we're going to apply that morph technique. And let's see what that looks like here. And you should get that carousel effect of moving between images. So let's have a look here. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder, I must not have, oh, it's worked for that one, but perhaps I didn't have them all highlighted. That's a good example of how silly it looks without the actual technique applied to it. So let me just see if I can, I don't know what went wrong there. Let's see. Maybe if I go from here. That one. That's, I'm not sure why that's happened. There's a little bit of problem solving that we might do. And what that would be for me is I think I would get rid of this one here. And then I would get this one and copy and paste it. Move that one up. And then go like that. And I wonder if that fixes it. I'm not sure why it happened, but for me, let's see. If I didn't change the font, so it should say 1 horse, or there are 2 horses, 3 horses there anyway, but that did fix the carousel movement. I'm not sure what happened there, which is why it's always important to get in and have a fix of things that you see. I'm not going to pause for you to go and apply that. Hopefully, because you've done it a few times, you can sort of get a sense for how this could be done. What I want to do is move on and show you the technique that I showed you right at the beginning here, which is this, how to create popping pictures into shapes, how to combine shapes, and then this one, I mean, I don't even know how important it is, but to have them sort of come in from the outside, where hopefully by now you can get a sense of how that's done, which I've got the text up the top here and the picture down the bottom here. I've applied that morph technique, and when you have the presentation, it just brings it in nice and smoothly. So I will show you this one because I actually think this is quite beautiful looking, and I'll show you how I have done that really quickly, and then maybe you can have a go of doing that yourself. So the way we get this picture into lots of rectangular shapes type thing is we actually, let me get rid of this. We're going to do some changing a piece of text into a shape, and then we're going to put an image onto that shape. So bear with me as I do this here. I'm going to insert a text box, And I'm just going to put 11 dashes, I don't know, whatever. And I am going to highlight those and convert those into a shape. I have just had an absolute mind blank about how I do this. Hold on a minute. Shape, format. Shape effects. No, oh my goodness, I've just had an absolute mind blank. Ooh. Text options, shape options. Well, how embarrassing. Okay, hold on. Quick styles, maybe. Nope, I can't even remember. I'm really sorry. I'm not going to show you that bit there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this shape to a different text here. We will make it really big. It should work the same. Let's go with that one there. So this is, and we will change them to letter L's. That will work very similarly. They shouldn't be capitals. Lock off, L, 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 L. All right, so what we're going to do is highlight these here. And we are going to go to shape format. And over here, we're going to do pattern, picture or text fill. Okay, so that clicked on the wrong thing. Hold on a minute. Undo that. Need to change it to a shape. Change shape. Oh, goodness me. Going to just change track here. We're not learning that skill. What we're going to do is put in a whole lot of shapes, and I'll show you how you can change the pictures here. For example, copy, paste here. And we're going to combine these images. So I've selected all of these and we're going to merge the shapes, which is over here, and click combine and then pattern fill here. So that is a picture that I've pre-done. Otherwise, you can insert your own picture here. Which I did before with children, but maybe we will see if we can do it with fish. You might be doing an under the sea type thing. Fishes. And that creates the picture in the image there. And then you can have the font here, where you put the words in, make it really large. And then have that off the screen. Which is just not working for me tonight. There we go. And then all we need to do is copy and paste. And move them back to where we would like them. And then apply that. position. And then that should create the image there. And bring them in. And again, you can see here, it's so slight. It's the tiniest thing, but you can see that I didn't remove the outline of the image. And it just kind of locks it in. I don't know why. It makes it look a bit better when it doesn't have that outline. But that's really easy to remove. But you need to do that before you create the shape, which is this one here. Shape format and using these merge shapes. So that's when you can grab this here and you should be able to merge the shapes if you have a whole bunch of shapes together. Any questions about that? It's getting late in the evening. We seem to be losing people to their dinners.
Yeah. Quick question. So I got 4 panels in and brought a photo in, but then I get 4 repeated photos.
Ah, okay.
So
I might have gone a little bit fast
I missed
there.
a step there, I think.
Let me just show you. So I'll do it again really briefly. So we just insert a shape. I'm going to do it right this time. I'm going to remove the, so let's say like this, insert the shape. I'm going to get rid of the outline, no outline, and I'm going to copy and paste it a few times. So so that we can get that panel like this. Now, the key is here, you need to combine them into one shape so that they're not 4 individual shapes. Right. And so by doing that, you just want to highlight each one. So I hold down Shift and click them all. You can do other things. Once you've got multiple shapes connected there, you click Merge Shape and Combine. And what that does is it creates one shape. And then so you can see how I've sort of popped them all together there. That's one shape. And then you go over to add your picture. Right.
Great. Thank you.
That's that one there. And that leads me into, I know we possibly might wrap up soon, but I want to show you using that combined shape thing, how you can create the cutout words, which that technique was used right up the top here for this original slide. And then that same technique was used, sorry about the scroll, here for cutting out a little bit of the rectangle shape with the number. So I'll show you that really briefly, and I might do it underneath here. And how that is done is you need to have two things. So you insert a shape. Let's do, sorry, here we go. Insert a shape. I'm removing the outline and I'm going to leave it that color for now. And then I'm going to insert a text box, not on top of it like that. You need to insert. So, hello. We want to have like a chunky text so that it's not, so there's a lot to see out of. Even bigger than that. Let's see. Oh, so close. I'll make my shape bigger. Okay. So what we've got here is a text box and a shape. I want to highlight both of them. So I can hold my Shift down and click on both of them, or I can just click out here and highlight over the top of them. It selects them both. Another way I could do it is I could hit Control All because it's the only things on the page. So they're both selected. I want to go up here to Shape Format here. And then the Merge Shapes. And we want to combine those. What that does is it creates a single thing with the cutouts of the text. And so how we created that video in the background was as simple as we've got that there. And then we just insert a video, which is the insert button over here, the video. I'm going to click on stock videos. Maybe I'll see what we can find. That's just because they're ordered and they're there. Oh, wonder what that would look like. I don't think it's a good image, but we do work within a university. I'm going to try it. I don't think it'll be very good. But it could be a bit of fun. I think maybe it would work better if this was not black, but it was white. So I might, let's make that slightly smaller. So it's going to sit behind the image. I'm going to change the color of this and maybe that'll, I don't know, I just think the black might not work. And then, oh, where did it go? Oh, I lost it. Center back. There it is. I don't know. This is just an experiment. I don't think it will work really well, but let's just try it here. So you can see the video poking through. And let's have a look. Maybe.
Yeah.
Depending on the word, maybe you could have a different word. It's not quite as it's a bit tricky to read, but you can see how you can pop like a moving image behind there and it peeks through. Actually, that's kind of cool, really. Maybe not the word hello, maybe congratulations or something might be more appropriate there. Yeah, so that's how that one's done there. Does that make sense? Did you want to have a go at that? It's getting late in the evening. It might be too much for the brain.
It's been really good though. What a lot of fun.
Lots of little tiny things. And in some ways, I think, you know, keep it simple. Just use the one effect as you move through. Like you wouldn't want to have whiz bang everything the whole time. It gets a bit overwhelming. Some people feel a bit sick having a lot of it, but I think using it carefully can really enhance your presentations.
Absolutely. That was heaps fun.
Is
Yeah.
it Shobna? Shobna? Do you have any questions or? Nope. I'm fairly happy to wrap that up there if you like,
Okay,
Alison.
sounds good. Thanks so much, Katie. I really enjoyed that. I hope everyone else did too, to improve the quality of their presentations. So yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thanks, Kate.
Did you have any questions? Were you able to put anything into practice there or?
I knew a lot of what you taught. Yeah, I had done that before. So yeah, but it was nice it was a good refresher.
Excellent. Oh, you must have fantastic presentations.
Sometimes. But thank you very much.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
See you next
All
time.
right.
Yeah. See you.
Thanks, Katie.
Bye-bye.